let me first introduce, in the bottom right of Cosmic Sapphire, the Canadian Zerg on Team Shopify. You know her. You love her. It's Scarlett. And making an absolutely heroic run, getting knocked down by essentially just mid-GM players in the first round, and fighting through the entire knockout bracket, a single series from elimination, from the very beginning of the tournament. He's played probably more games than anyone else so far. It is NightMare, the Korean Protoss from Team GP. Has he met his match in Scarlett? Or will his run continue? He came from Korea, he said, you know what, maybe I shouldn't just go out with a handful of games. Honestly, I didn't expect it. The way he played in that first group, I did cast it. It was far from top 16 material. But he just beat Neeb. Okay. Neeb beat Scarlett. And by basic math here, that means nothing, because Protoss versus Protoss is very different. But we'll see how far I can go. I'm totally unbiased, but as a big Scarlett fan, I want to see NightMare make a great series of it. Do I want to see NightMare in the round of 8? It's not mine. It's not my place to say. All right, Scarlett has had... She's broken the entire schedule for the tournament so far with the long-winded nature of her games. There have been several instances of 40, 45, 50-minute games. I believe at least one point a draw was offered. I think that was against Drogo. I'm not 100%. So, definitely a... we could just settle it, all right? If you got your snacks, you got your pizza rolls, your popcorn, granola bars, maybe some potato chips, or whatever, chips of choice. Maybe something potato related, probably would be my choice. Like, not necessarily chips, but that's not really important. What is important is Scarlett is trying to kill her own hatchery with Queen. So, is this what we're doing? Is this how we're starting it off? Dark Shrine, Robo. More gates on the way. It's going to be a DT play from NightMare. Appropriate. Try to get some quick advantages in game 1. Almost impossible to scout the Dark Shrine directly. As a Zerg on this map. Is there a Stalker? No Stalker, so the Overlord could wander in. Stalker is being built right now. Okay, never mind. That gas being taken. Scarlett will find it immediately. Not sure how much that's going to give away, but there's already enough Zerglings on the field to shut down this first set of Adepts and potentially pressure the third. Oh, wow, what a catch. Scarlett, immediate recall. NightMare gets exactly 0 for 2 out of there. Scarlett, it's not a huge win, but it's a medium-sized win. Like, that is worthy of note. And that lack of recall with the War Prism coming out. Losing 2 Adepts, Warpins are precious when you're going for this build. Scarlett off to a strong start. The Prism was scouted. I think Scarlett has a good idea of what's coming. Oh, look at that Spore Crawler positioning. Yeah, she knows. All right. Might as well as just walked up and told her. Because the Dark Templar comes out. Yeah, that Spore Crawler is making sure no DTs get by or no DTs can hit the hatch. Scarlett knows. The Queens! The Queens! Even the War Prism! You can't recall that now. What is NightMare doing? Did you know that the Dark Shrine is actually a bunch of DT heads? Doesn't that look cool? and they light up when he's going for DT Blink. What? I don't... this is more than doubling down. NightMare is certainly unique. This is the NightMare. Maybe I'm NightMare's curse. Okay, I'll take the credit and the blame. As in that group stage 1, NightMare looked like he was just making things up as he went along, and not in a good way. He's battled through everything, and Scarlett's right here, already shutting down the builds before they even start. Like, there's some DTs, but the Zerglings are running around. As they do. Like, Scarlett kills 5 probes because DTs don't have enough range. Blink of 2 flavors of Blink now. Scarlett's at 65 drones. This doesn't look like we're gonna go to a 38-minute Sky Toss game. Not at this rate. Of course, many games start like that. Well, okay, some of the DTs out there. It's just a bunch of DTs with Blink, but Scarlett already has enough drones to easily build roaches. 66 drones, getting a 4th, Overseers, roach speed on the way, spore crawlers in position. Well, that's a lot of DTs. He just blink in. He just blinks on the spore. He gets it, but Overseers exist. Yeah, okay. Well, is he gonna get the base? No, this is horrible. No. This is the 4th base is not that important though. That was optimistic. Queen's going for the Prism. Scarlett probably gonna lose the 4th for now. DT's coming back in. Okay. You know what? It's getting annoying. It's gone from amusing to a mild annoyance here. This is your sock is a little bit like there's a little wrinkle in it. It's kind of annoying to walk on, but you don't have time to take your shoe off and fix it right now. Kind of annoying. So you're just gonna deal with it. Make sure it doesn't become too much of an issue. Well, here come the queens. Gonna take things head on, going straight through the rocks. And even the overlords. Gonna drop the creep so the queens can truly participate in this battle. The Ravagers here, Blink Stalkers, a handful of shield batteries, +1 ranged attack for Scarlett. Shield battery overcharged, but drawing the units away. The army supply is 112 to, yep, that's 37. So, Overseer here. Gotta be a little careful. More Overseers coming up, not taking any risks. Looks like this is NightMare's worst himself right now. As Scarlett a double supply. 8.5 minutes into game 1. Oh, there was no stage of this game that Scarlett didn't already have the lead. And that's a comfortable and confident victory to start things off. Scarlett takes it. Oh, that... I don't know. You just went Blink. You just went DT Blink. He quadrupled down on the DTs when it was already clear Scarlett had a beat on him. So, a bold move that may sometimes work out, but... Now we're getting game 2 set up. Inside and out. Players ready to move on. All right. Are we ready to go? Yes. Game 2, NightMare versus Scarlett. Scarlett with almost a freebie. It wasn't a freebie. She earned it. She figured out what it was and shut it down before it started. Those DT pushes can get out of hand way too quickly the moment you're not ready for them. But there were none of those moments. And now Scarlett up 1-0. North America. Holding on. Game 2. Bottom left, NightMare. Top right, Scarlett. I saw the same NightMare in that game that I saw at the beginning of this tournament. So, unless I'm cursing him directly, it is not my intent. But that was... I don't know. I'm hoping for more. I don't want a clean sweep. As good as that would be for Scarlett, and I'm sure plenty of people will be happy with it, we're here to show good games for the fans. And we've already had quite a quick day. Though that has a tendency to happen as the players start to narrow it down. Oh, okay. I'm kind of just zoned out for a moment and failed to really realize that a drone is not usually something you find on the other side of the map quite this early. It appears Scarlett is interested in retaking the initiative. And by that I mean taking a natchery, as Scarlett has expanded to both natural bases. Which is a bold move. So, here we are. Not pulling any additional probes. Instead, just opting for the Zealot. Realizing that, okay, well, Scarlett has a hatch on the other side. There's not going to be a pull that quick. There's not going to be Zerglings popping out immediately. This is mostly just here to slow down NightMare's build. It's quite a slowdown, though. Couple of depths. Clearly intent on counterattacking as soon as possible. Will Scarlett let the hatchery complete? Are we going to an Evo chamber? Place your bets. It finishes. Ah, yes, our favorite cameo appearance might be coming in. Broodlings. Broodlings have gotten a surprising amount of kills without a single Broodlord in the series we've cast. And another opportunity here. Broodlings can very much kill a Zealot and a probe in their short but angry lives. Still a couple larvae out there if Scarlett chooses it. Couple of depths. Queens. Slowlings. Not the ideal counter, but gonna zone out, soften up. Broodlings. And not find anything. Scarlett starts the creep on the high ground here. Twilight Council's on the way immediate. Don't do it again. Don't you dare do it again. He goes for glaives. Damn. Is that an Overlord? 2 Overlords, and I mean, why not? Why waste your larva at home? There's nothing that's going to kill him here. They don't quite block the base, but it's not like NightMare has the minerals. This is going to be a surprisingly convenient scout. 3 Adepts behind the mineral line. Don't find the drones. Trying to kill all these Zerglings here. 4 Adepts, sorry. Don't want to lose too many of them before the glaives complete. And that's a long way off. An awkward shade, and Scarlett is on creep with plenty of Zerglings. Finds the surround yet again. And the Adepts will die. Not the ideal situation for someone going for resonating glaives. NightMare feeling lost at sea a bit here. And you know when you look into the sky for the stars, You're like, oh, maybe this is the gate. We're like, no, it's a dark shrine. All right, that's the constellation dark shrine. That's what NightMare sees. No matter what, he finds a way, and it's just gonna be a dark shrine again. I mean, he has glaives, but the classic. You won't expect DTs after my obvious Twilight Council play gambit, as Scarlett preemptively makes a spore to deal with DTs. Now, killing those adepts really hurts any sort of bluff here from NightMare. If he had 7 or 8 adepts, you could really sell the idea of going all in. But 3 adepts is not selling anything to anyone, okay? If you came up if you walked up and you tried to, I don't know, like a door-to-door salesman, which, one, I wouldn't open the door for you. It's 2022. Nobody's opening, like, why are you here? Stop. Go away. I will tell you through my doorbell camera, get out of my house, which is what most Zerg players do to adepts anyways. But, it doesn't matter how many adepts. What I'm trying to say is get out. I already know there are DTs out there. If I open the door, the DTs are coming in. And that's why we don't risk it. That and answering phone numbers from, like, just really any, but that's kind of unrelated. Problem here, the Spore Crawler was not in position at the 3rd. They're called phone calls. It's just we answer them so little we don't know the name. I say we to make myself feel better. So the DTs end up, he recalled them, which was maybe a call he shouldn't have taken. That was a total waste, but did get the 3rd, so this is a bit awkward for Scarlett, who's down 8 workers. Now, the army supply is 56 to 14, and I'm not a mathematician, but that does seem like quite a disparity. And what is that army supply? It is, yeah, there it is. That's it. So, while NightMare has carved out a bit of an economic advantage, it's gonna be quite a while before it turns into any sort of army value. And Scarlett may very well just bash the door down now. The Ravager count, there's a cannon up there, some corrosive biles, but the Zerglings are already slipping through. Shield battery overcharge. Plenty of Ravager probes are pulled, okay. Corrosive bile, down goes the shield battery, gonna get a Stalker. And more Stalkers warping in. They don't have blink. Just volleys into the shield batteries, and that is far, far, far too much. Yeah. NightMare has so far been lacking in the whole building units department. There was a DT on the other side, which found a couple drones. Scarlett's going to be taking that 3rd. And is there anything stopping her from the rest? Well, there's a corrosive bile volley. Down goes the pylon, and with it, the entire front wall. NightMare retreats back. Blink is done. He might want to close both eyes, though. Make it painless. Yeah, well, Scarlett runs over everything. Okay. All right, NightMare. 23 probes down, 2 Gs. And we're going to game 3 with a Scarlett in 16 minutes, racking up 2-0. We still have an opportunity for that 45-minute Sky Toss game. I can't believe I'm out here praying for it, but about as one-sided as a Mobius strip so far. Scarlett just slapping down. Well, that game, she took the initiative with the hatchery, but we're going to Tropical Sacrifice. Will NightMare be the sacrifice today? Or will Scarlett finally find herself on the receiving end? Find out more Well, right now, actually, so... You can't just build DTs. It kind of loses. You're not on a barcode on the ladder, NightMare. I was hoping to cast for more than like an hour today, but I guess my voice will appreciate it. This means I have so much opportunity to cast the other games on YouTube. You should check it out. If you might have some time. Well, we are ready to go. All right. Game 3. Scarlett on match point. Looking all but a certainty. The countdown has begun. Thank you for joining me for DreamHack Masters Atlanta 2022. Hope you're enjoying. And at least one more. The run, the miracle run may end here. Still quite far from the finish line. We have the Korean Protoss who battled through the entirety of the knockout bracket. Through Neeb as well. But now needs 3 in a row. It's NightMare. Making it look easy. Has the number of her opponent and is more than ready to call the bluffs. The Canadian Circuit. Sponsored by Shopify. Scarlett. I don't know. What do you do? This is such an opposite of so many Protoss versus Zerg series, where you see the Protoss, even if they get out to a rough start, it feels like they have a full deck of cards. You got your Twilight, your Stargate options. The Zerg player has to react. Well, so far it's been some of the failed attempts with Adepts, a handful of optimistic Dark Templar, and a whole lot of dead probes. NightMare. 3-0 against Scarlett is a tall order. Nexus. Spawning pool. Jimmy, it's the round of 16. Can you even count? Don't answer them. Second gas coming out for NightMare. Just default to the... when you don't know how to fill time anymore, because we've done the same early game 6 times in a row, you just read the production tab. Professional tip. Nobody will know. No, don't type it. Couple queens. Cybercore finishing out. Second pylon done. What's it gonna be from NightMare? He spent his gas immediately, which points away from the Stargate. Oh, don't do it again. Is he going for it again? Twilight Council. The council will convene for the 3rd time in a row. Will this finally be the charm? I don't think it's necessarily a bad idea. And Twilight Council can easily go into... Oh no, not again. Well, I could say not again. It could literally mean anything, but it's going to be Glaives. Here we go. It's going to be Prism Glaives. An old build, a Neeb-style build. And this was the build Neeb popularized many, many years ago. a resurgence lately since so many players have been going Stargate to mix it up. 4-gate Warp Prism Glaives. Might eventually get a third, or at least show it. But the intent is to keep so much pressure on the Zerg that if they undercommit with units, you kill other drones. If they overcommit, you're ahead economically. Supposed to be a win-win. We got a Roach Warren on the way. Plenty of time. Well before the 4-minute mark, which is about the latest you can get it and still potentially have it by the time the Adepts get there. NightMare has lost his Adepts, like the first handful of Adepts, both games so far. This time, it seems unlikely, as Scarlett doesn't have the units to deal with it. She's building the Spores, expecting the DTs a third time in a row. And I mean, you have to prepare, because otherwise there's no detection at all. Now, this is the cleanest opening yet. NightMare has 8 Adepts, a Warp Prism. He's not lost any units thus far. Shades the Adepts through. The Zerglings try to get the surround. Intimidate the Adepts into not completing the Shade, but they will not be intimidated. They know Zerglings are not a threat. He cancels the Shade, and now the drones. Even a Roach comes out. Third base behind. Trying to have both sides of it. And so far, Scarlett struggling. This is a much better start for NightMare. Jams the Adepts into the mineral line. A few more. The Natural has all the drones at it. 40-40 right now, but that's about to change. Well, so far, NightMare hasn't actually managed to kill more than one drone. Which is, well, he's taking his sweet time, but it kind of felt inevitable. 4 drones, 5. The third base under intense shade right now. Adepts all over the place, but NightMare keeping control of the situation. And I think doing a good job of also limiting the unit count. This is one of the most slow-moving glaive attacks. But it is moving. He's killed a lot of the Zerglings and some of the Roaches. Just, okay, that was a bit much. He commits to the Shade in the middle of essentially every unit, which is about the only way Scarlett was going to kill them. And does. NightMare, just when it looked like things were going his way, he shades directly the other direction. That sentence makes sense. Ooh. All he needed to do was not complete the... He needed to cancel it. But Scarlett jumps on the... I don't think she expected him to do that, because it was so obviously the wrong call. A little bit of surprise there. And the thing is, the rest of the attack went so well that NightMare still has some space. The key part of this is, in order to defend, you can't get a lair. You cannot afford a lair. That means you're stuck with Sloaches. No Roach speed. You don't got a Baneling nest. You don't got any upgrades. You're stuck with, like, Ravager, Zergling, maybe, if you want to counterattack. Scarlett, with that last defense, has enough drones now. The Immortals are revealed. Has enough drones to actually sit back and macro it out. But this second wave with the Immortals involved and the Warp Prism intact is the more dangerous one here when it comes to game-ending damage. Another wave of Adepts is warped in. Some Ravagers. Lair is done. But what are you going to do with it? There's no time. Third hatchery will die. The Shades... Is he... Some Banelings in here. Any amount of Baneling connection is going to be very helpful. Scarlett with a lot of units, but NightMare matching her. There's a Disruptor Den on the way. I'm sorry, Robo Bay, but let's be honest here. How many Adepts is that? 26 Adepts. They're outnumbering Zerglings. Of course, Banelings getting involved, so they become a bit of a liability here. The Banelings trying to close in, but the Shade is thrown. Wow, canceled. Canceled the Shade. And that means Scarlett gonna be able to pick a fight and still not win it, because apparently those Adepts with the Immortals behind are more than enough. That was the right call. It was a bit of an awkward fight. Scarlett thought she was winning that, but then the Zerglings got cut to pieces and the Roaches obliterated by the Immortals. NightMare here just chunking his way through. Oh, this shade. The Banelings! The Banelings are going the wrong direction. Some more finish. It's getting real messy out here. Scarlett struggling. 14, 15 drones. Terrible, terrible damage being dealt. And Scarlett in trouble here. The third glaives were the charm. The third Twilight. And it's getting down to it. The Corrosive Vials, the Shade completes. Into the Queens. The Immortals are still intact. 9 kills. Kill the Spore Crawler and then get out with the Prism. Now that is critical damage. Now Scarlett has to go essentially all in. Unfortunately, the Disruptors will be fully operational by the time her army arrives. And the Disruptors are an incredibly... Oh no. That's a GG Ruptor right there. I didn't... Well, okay. The Ghetto Blink Prism. GG. It's not going to be a sweep. NightMare takes this one with a well-executed glaive attack and an even stronger follow-up. Proving that it wasn't so much the concept but the execution in the first few matches. Well, we'll see. That hurts a bit. That kind of looked the other direction, where the first couple games, Scarlett just smothering NightMare. That time, she never really found her footing. NightMare always sidestepping. We're going to Data C. There's the Sky Toss map. NightMare's taking a break. Says 3 minutes. Bathroom break. What a timing. Well, that leaves us with a little bit of time here. Oh, I don't know, like, I think NightMare's just happy to get one. Alright, so that was the hardest part of Glaive All-Ins to deal with, is even when you know it's coming and you have your units ready, your economy is so thin that one mistake as a Zerg, and you're now fighting into a Protoss with a better economy and better units. Like, Roaches feel... They're not... They don't feel great. Slow Roaches are not anyone's favorite unit to micro. Without a controller. They feel like an admission that Zerglings are not going to counter the Adepts. That's most of what they are. Otherwise, nobody would build them. So, Scarlett never was able to build up the actual count of units to deal with the follow-up either. That's the hardest part. Past the first part. Yes, I know. I'm really breaking it down for you as we take this short break, but is judging whether or not they're going to just do another attack or they're just macroing it out. Because if they do another attack, you don't build units. Well, guess what? You die. But if they don't do another attack and you build like a medium amount of units, you could just be behind and lose to a much later timing with more tech. So being the judge of that is the hardest part. Yes, we're just waiting for NightMare. Whenever he's ready. We're going to go into Data C, Game 4. Scarlett leads 2-1. NightMare showing signs of life, though. We'll see. We're bringing up the bracket for those of you not on the squad stream right now. Scarlett, well, that hasn't been updated yet. But Ragnarok up 2-0 on Hero Marine. Selling Zounds also going on Hero Laser. Showtime, Astrea, Solar. Well, we're going to be getting to those matches. I'm planning on casting Solar Creator on the other side of the bracket. So more PvZ, though I think it's going to look very different than this one. Creator was all over the place in a good way against Sue. Just some really decisive and almost overly creative Protoss. But Sue just couldn't keep up. I think Solar has a better chance of handling Creator than Sue did. Sue, honestly, every game looked like that last game from Scarlett and NightMare, where Zerg gets bullied and then eventually dies. NightMare, come back. I can only feel so much. Everybody grab your emotional support, Zerglings. Or, well, I mean, don't discriminate. Probes, maybe. Some Zealots. Okay. Maybe. Don't forget. Your Terrans out there. I know. Never. No. Just. So. That was a good time. Just a quick break. DRG beat Cure, which sets up DRG versus Maru. Alright, it's time. NightMare versus Scarlett. Game 4. In the top right of this round of 16 match, finally finding a game, we have every Zerg's NightMare and the red Protoss. And on the other side, still on match point, the Canadian Zerg on Team Shopify, Scarlett. Probe out very early, even here. The beginning of the game in order to block this hatch. Scarlett, oh my god. Oh, that feels so bad. Scarlett went for 15 hatch in order to try to dodge the early probe, but by about 10-15 minerals didn't quite get there. So begrudgingly heads towards the third. We're going to go in and annoy the minerals for a while. I see NightMare's very committed to the hatch blocking. Some players, depending on the map, won't go for it. Like Neeb is not nearly as committed. Many of the more macro Protoss don't see it as worth it. But my favorite player, my favorite Protoss historically, just in terms of quantity and quality of games, is Zest. And unfortunately, he's no longer with us because he has to do his obligatory military service. Hopefully he comes back. But Zest, in not just Protoss versus Zerg, but also against Terran and Protoss, had a habit of sending out the probe essentially at the beginning of the game. Because he was of the mind that probes in your opponent's base are not just for literal strategy, but also for mental strategy. Just keeping an eye on things, making sure opponent feels uncomfortable. And I don't think there is another unit, especially on like a cost to blood pressure raising ratio, that has more efficiency than a probe. Because that single probe has been the source of many stressful situations. A lot of heartbeat increases. And just its existence can sometimes force players from here to the Bronze League to panic, at least a little bit. Yeah, well said in the chat, by the way. Probes are nightmare fuel. Doubly appropriate. I agree. And a Stargate is the choice. Finally, NightMare showing us that he knows there are other buildings you're allowed to build that aren't Twilight Councils. Though I wouldn't be surprised if we get there soon. NightMare. Scouting with the Adept. Gonna take a look all the way to the gas and cancels. Getting a beat on the drone count, but the Zerglings get in. Scarlett in the main here. Sees the Oracle building. Even forces some probes away. And another Adept. Oh, but Zergling speed is gone. And given the... Oh, gotta get a probe! Oh, the hero Zergling. It's not done. Still going. Gonna keep the Adept busy. Where's the Adept going? Oh, not another one. Oh, wait, there's more Zerglings. Oh, it's getting worse. Gets another Adept. And back into the main. Still going for it. Pulling more probes off. The hero Zergling. Okay, well, gets dealt with. But there's the Twilight right behind. An Oracle. Lit up the Oracle. Burnt through the larva. Scarlett lost a drone. So, the Oracle has 35 energy, so enough maybe to go for another round, but... one Adept is not enough. 3 is more. More than enough. The base will be taken. The Oracle comes back, just in case a few more Zerglings will be built. A Void Ray will be the choice. Creator also using the Void Ray earlier. We'll see how many. Oracle slides in. Oracle looks like it'll be sliding out one way or another. The Queens almost kill it. A bit too fancy for its own good. So the Twilight Council has been chilling here for a bit. NightMare has 300 gas. So... It's a fake! The Twilight seems to have been for show. As a Robo and another Stargate on the way. Wow. Okay. Scarlett more than happy to assume that NightMare will go Twilight. We'll see how well this works out. As NightMare kind of just shifting into double Stargate. The problem is, it's not going to come online for quite a while. Scarlett's building a lot of roaches. Void Rays are in production. Roach speed is a long way off. And this is mass Void Ray. This is going to be a very awkward exchange. Because Scarlett is clearly intent on doing some damage. The Void Rays will put a timer on that damage. But they don't attack that quick. Like, the roaches could very well kill the third. Of course, if they spend some time going through the rocks, things change a bit. I mean, this is partially her assuming she's dealing with the Twilight Council play. Like maybe some charge lots. Even Blink Stalkers. Well, it looks like we're not ending with just the roaches. Queen of Blades gonna bring the queens along. Not the German taxi build, but the Canadian Curling Championship. As we're gonna slide the queens along the creep. This is a campaign mission. It's a campaign mission now. The Void Rays try to do some damage. Void Rays try to slow down the Overlords, because the Queens can't transfuse without the creep, but there's more than enough OVs to bring the creep along. A Disruptor on the way. The Void Ray is going to be a bit of a surprise, but with this many Queens, I don't think Scarlett's particularly worried about it. Queens marching up. The Knitting Crew is here, and they're angry. The Void Ray is not going to go down easily. There's a Disruptor in the production tab. A good SimCity here from NightMare. Zerglings are getting cut to pieces. But there's just so much beefiness behind him. shield battery overcharge, helping out a lot here. The queen's running out of energy. There's not that many queens left over the disruptor. The disruptor could change everything. 10 probes are dead. Fires a shot. Looking for, gets a Ravager and a Roach, and also forces the micro away. Burning through. +1 air is done. And those queens are not going to be able to deal with it very easily. Scarlett behind this does not have a huge economy. The Void Ray count is growing a lot quicker than the queens are getting through them. The queen count is not high enough. Scarlett getting an infestation pit and some drones behind, realizing the Void Rays are too much. In a kind of awkward turn of events, the Void Rays are actually the counter to queens here. This queen walk is more designed to deal with a ground army before it comes together, and not to deal with the sky toss. Even though queens have that anti-air, she was expecting the Twilight units. I'm reasonably convinced. But here, well, Void Rays hold. The +1 integral in dealing with that, as the queen's base armor is incredibly helpful. The SimCity was really good from NightMare. He set himself up for success and is now well on the way to it. Scarlett at only 60 drones. She's got a hive. I have to imagine this is a Viper rush. Vipers for abducting disruptors and parasitic bomb on Void Rays, which is a very awkward situation to be in. She's got 15 queens and not much else. The creep spread is most of the way across the map. It's coming from both directions right now, but finally an observer is out. The Void Ray is the only reliable way to get some of it. There is no fleet beacon. Infestor's on the way. And this game is still very much up in the air. And I don't just mean the Void Rays. Well, the queens... Get off my land! Oh, the whole crew's here. It's like the yearly convention of Brenda's knitting crew. As they all get together and collectively agree that Protoss is horrible and should be deleted from the game. 4 Vipers on the way. As well as Infestors. The Wombo combo opportunities. Fungal parasitic bomb, but will Scarlett have the time to gather the energy to deal with this army? A brute force strike here from NightMare. Disruptors, Archons, Void Rays. The Disruptors lead the charge. Another Infestor throws a fungal, gets something. The Vipers aren't there for it. Trying to gather energy. Disruptor hits. Force the transfuses out. Another Disruptor hit. Gotta get a couple queens. Blasting him away. Is there enough repair bomb? No. No, not yet. Abducts the Ruptors into the fray. The queen's running out of energy. What ones remain? The Disruptors are cooling down. Or up. I don't know which one it is. Vipers sucking out the Roach Ward in order to get anything here. Gets the Disruptor that just came off cooldown. Archons battling. The base under fire, literally and figuratively. One Disruptor shot, but yanks it out of the Nova. And the Nova is canceled, and with it, it looks like Scarlett is slowly, but very surely picking apart this attack. She'll lose the hatchery. She'll lose a bunch of the queens. She'll lose some drones. But she'll win the battle. And with it, maintaining a huge army supply lead. And NightMare's army doesn't scale amazingly. He doesn't have great upgrades. He doesn't have carriers. He doesn't have anything that can't be countered by the Vipers that are already on the field. Though at the same time, he does have a better economy. Yeah, Scarlett did lose that income. And it's not like her army was cheap. Well, here we go. Bit of an awkward situation. The Vipers can counter the Ruptors. The Templar can counter the Vipers. And the Roaches, well, the ground armies are just there to hope that everyone else on their side does their job. Immortal, targeted, destroyed. Corrosive Bio, gonna land, gets an Archon. Going for a second Disruptor shot, the fade away. Scarlett falls back. There's a, somebody gonna shoot at that? Nope. I don't. Moving on. Patrols the observer. Gets it. Not so fast. The rocks are going to be torn down, but that might just be the beginning. 195 to 165 supply. NightMare, though, with a fierce 160. Well, okay, 159. One Archon less fierce, which is pretty significantly less fierce. Gets a Ruptor. Some Corrosive Biles. There's a Baneling Nest and a Spire in production. The Hive is already done. Both players kind of grasping for tech in this meandering fashion, as NightMare has a Gateway Disruptor army with a few Void Rays and Templars scattered in. Scarlett's still on Roaches and Ravagers, but with a bunch of Vipers as well. Lightning Cloud is on the table. Feedback is probably the option, and just Feedback, as there's no Storm. Feedback's on the Vipers. NightMare looking to get this base yet again. Corrosive Bow coming up. The Disruptor's still up and running. They've got shots ready to fire. Meanwhile, a whole bunch of Zealots. Scarlett maxed out and struggling to find a fight. There's the Fleet Beacon, but there's the Greater Spire, as we may drag this game kicking and screaming. Oh, beautiful split. That one targeted down the Disruptor. And NightMare thought we were going back to our corners for the next round, but Scarlett hits him with a massive attack on the way out. Beautiful split, great target fire, and just like that, Scarlett is knocking on the door. 2-3 more Disruptors, though. There's still a few shots ready, and that'll be the saving grace for NightMare. The blink back. He actually hit the rocks for a moment, chasing down the Roaches. Scarlett's still up by 50 supply, but with that many Ruptors available, you do not want to get cornered. Meanwhile, Charge Lot warping into the main. The Hive is vulnerable, almost nothing else. A handful of Queens here. Spore Crawlers getting dealt with. There's not that much army at the front. The Disruptors are wandering up. Scarlett is still nearly maxed, but a lot of it is in production. Nothing to actually deal with this army right now. The Charge Lot's in the main. Scarlett, a bit of an F2 action there. Wants to be very careful about getting cornered. The Disruptors are ready, but at the same time, the Vipers are waiting for their opportunity. Both sides so tense right now, as the Disruptors can be countered by the Vipers, but if the Vipers get too close, the Stalkers will gun them down. Adrenal Gland's about to complete. Zergling's actually a real counter. Oh, he blinked forward! He abandoned the Ruptors. Loses one. The Stalker's fighting. The Stalker's getting chased back. The Ruptor, a single Ruptor at the back, gets one of the Vipers. Scarlett keeps looking like she's winning the fight. She's winning battles. But NightMare keeps taking big chunks out of her economy and dragging units back. So far, so to the extent neither player has been able to use that late-game tech. We haven't seen any carriers built, though that may change very soon. We haven't seen the Greater Spire used, though that may change as well, as Corruptor's on the way. War Prism still intact. I'm sure those Corruptors have a target. The rest of the Roaches going back. Scarlett knows better. The creep spread's still quite good for how hectic this game has been. A right click there from the Zealots. Meanwhile, ooh, that is a dangerous army, but Vipers could easily pick it apart. This is a tense fight for both sides. Loses one Archon. Loses two. Trying to pick out the Ruptors. Target fires there. Fadeaway shots. Scarlett micros back in time. Archon's abandoned. Another shot. Better hit. Not good enough. Broodlords and Carriers on the way. Both players trying to find something else to add into these fights. There's no direct anti-air for Scarlett. She has no... it's just the Corrosive Vials right now. NightMare still is perpetually far from maxed. He's fighting with like 150 to 170 supply throughout all of this. He's never able to quite reach 200. What is he saying? He's got 12 gateways. How do you not max out with 12 gateways? More Templar warping in. Scarlett with only 62 drones, leaving her with 136 army supply. I mean, we're eating into it a little, morphing some Banes now. The only way to make things even more powerful without some supply tricks. NightMare coming out with these Blink Stalkers. The creep is starting to recede as the Queens are Few and far between. There's one queen. There was once... How many queens have died this game? 20. That's the only queen. Which means injects are non-existent for Scarlett right now. Well, that should... Scarlett, the person most known, especially in North America, for mechanics for creep spread. We literally saw essentially a queen all-in earlier this game. Is down to one queen. So... Can't really build anymore. She's at 198 supply, so... That might actually end up being a sticking point. A lack of larvae. There's 22 in the bank. We've slowed down a bit. The carriers have arrived. There's no anti-air with this army. There's no anti-air with this army. The disruptors fire. Pulls them out. More shots. Full broadside. Nails a bunch of the roaches, but the ground army is wiping out NightMare's mutually assured destruction. But the carriers reign supreme in the skies. And what is the answer? The Armada has been called in. Scarlett was not ready for it. Broodlord, sure. Corruptor, sure. But Scarlett has not had the economy throughout this to just build 25 Corruptors. She's got 7? You don't, like, 7 more? The air upgrades +1 against +1. Storm is not done. So Scarlett can't know that for sure. Broodlord's fighting. Is there enough for a parabomb? No. The Corruptors are target firing. Stalker's trying to get involved. Parasitic bomb is required. Scarlett's sitting there with that Viper trying so hard. NightMare doesn't have anything underneath. The Corruptors are target firing. It's still so close. There's not enough Corruptors here for Scarlett. Or are there? Chasing it down. They're coming out of the hatcheries. Trickling out. But slowly. Oh, Scarlett getting whittled down. The supply is not looking good. 16 drones died. The economy is desperate underneath. And GG. Match point. As Scarlett not quite able to break NightMare. And NightMare turns it around. He's now got 2 in a row. Oh, it looks so good. Oh, and I'm not a big fan. Well, the next map is Stargazers. And that is not... as a Zerg, not huge on that one. Maybe Scarlett has something. It is map 5. Well, they both jumped in. We're ready to go. No breaks. Thank you for watching DreamHack Masters. Hopefully you're enjoying. And we're going to match point. It looked to be a lopsided series in favor of Scarlett in the first 2 matches. It's not looking so lopsided anymore. Tied up, 2-2. The final map will be Stargazers. NightMare doing exactly what he did in the entire tournament so far, which is going to essentially 1 game from disaster and bringing it back. In the top right. One more time. Potentially the last time. The Canadian Zerg. Sponsored by Shopify Rebellion. It's Scarlett. On the other side, the Korean Protoss. Refusing to get knocked out of this tournament. No matter how bad it looks. He battles back. You can't help but root for him a bit. It's Team GP's NightMare. Oh. I don't know. That was very close. I don't think Scarlett had a good position, but NightMare succeeded with the essentially fake Twilight. He built the Twilight under the nose of the Zergling. And Scarlett, I think, bid on it. It ended up being the transition into double Stargate that held the line. The random seeming void race in just high enough number. We're on Stargaze. This is, it's time for the map filler commentary, guys. Buckle up. Don't tune out. Okay, you can tune out for this part, probably, but you got your pocket base, you got your mineral walls, close air distance. Historically, Zerg players not a huge fan of all this, because this ends up being a staging area for warp prisms, Stargate units. It makes it very hard to really get out on the map without risking your main base under attack. We will see if Scarlett has anything to counteract that advantage. Of course, Nidus, Swarm Host, Mutas, all options, none of which we've seen. The probe stole some minerals and therefore, and only because of that, must die. And we're back. The Twilight Council will convene yet again. And this time it's not a fake. This time it's the plan. Robo, we're gonna try DTs. One more for the road. This match started with one of the most lackluster DT all-ins that was preemptively and overwhelmingly countered by Scarlett. Oh, it's Glaives. The Glaives have gone better. It's just the straight-up 4-gate Glaives. Alright, Scarlett struggled on Tropical Sacrifice. Looked like there was no real direct answer. And that's always been the hardest part of dealing with glaive attacks, is gauging their commitment. Okay? Is this a long-term relationship? Is this just a one-shade stand? I don't know. Like, do you have 4 more gates behind this, or are you investing in a Nexus? Overlord. I mean, you're not getting out. Might as well go the rest of the way in.
Our forces are under attack.
Oh, saw the prism. Saw the prism. Was she looking? No. I mean, sees the Robo in the Twilight. That's already enough. And definitely, if she didn't see it before, she sees it now. $16 more Zerglings. Roach 1 finishing. Scout at 41 drones. Waves completed. NightMare in position. Also has the option of warping into the main pretty easily. Scarlett praying NightMare will complete that shade. Nope. Clearly would be a mistake. Third Nexus. The back pocket. Full base there. NightMare. Teasing. One of these times. Observer here. Following it up. Scarlett snuck out a few more drones during this. So if she can continue the stalwart defense, then good shape. Not slowing down the economy much, but also respecting the danger these adepts pose. Ooh, the shade. Oh, into the... who's countering who, really, though? Those glaives eviscerate Zerglings. Bit of an awkward situation. Scout up to 55 drones. NightMare. Behind this, another Robo? No Robo Bay yet. I think well, we're just going to go ahead and build everything. Looks like NightMare kind of missed a step here in the rest of his tech tree, but he's filling it in now. Yeah, like, you just have to watch. Like, what am I gonna say? Maybe. No. Like, maybe. See? It doesn't work. It doesn't work. I'm not a Korean caster. No. Okay. I can't do that. It's too much. It's too much. The observer spotting ahead. Scarlett at 62 drones. She's really kept up on the drone production. That is a key difference in this game. Also, NightMare not really following it up, but Scarlett has not been stingy with the drones. She had enough units. She's at the injects on point. And now, Aspire, Baneling speed, Roach speed, everything coming online. But on the other side, Double Ruptor, Blink, and well before the Spire finishes, there's options. Adept Shade Away. The Prism at the beachhead base. She's pretty much all it is against Zerg. Most of the Adepts make it home. Scarlett will see they shaded away. And we're going Mutas! It's happening! Will NightMare move out in time? The best defense against the Mutalisks is a good offense. He's keeping the pressure on so much the Mutas can't actually go across the map. But they're not particularly great against Mutas, the Blinkstalkers, so that's a lot of roaches. Like this army doesn't... Well, the Disruptors. And there are no Mutas in production. The Disruptors. Did I mention the Disruptors? Flips the edge. Scarlett. This is game 5. Just throwing that in there. Bunch of Lings and Banes. Not bothering with the Mutas. A whole lot of Zerglings morphing into Banelings right now. She does have Baneling speed complete. The Disruptors are on the front line. Oh no! The Banelings! Direct hit! A shot at the back. Scarlett leads into the hit. Oh, it's rough. It's rough out there. Scarlett's supply is plummeting. NightMare has such an army. Scarlett, it was looking so good. But now it's looking like a nightmare. 3-2. The full turnaround. It hurts so